Well, when we did that season preview, Michael Hill, back in Jerez, we never expected to be doing another one 6 months later, did we?
No, I don't know if you can hear me all the way over there, but it's good to see you. I've got to say this, the masks are a bit uncomfortable, aren't they? It's a bit weird getting used to all this PPE
Especially
stuff.
when you've got a big nose like I have. Michael Hill's one characteristic we can't even see anymore.
Do you know what, I'm mightily disappointed that the old Nashers are not on public display.
Are they still there?
They are still there. I think when I get to Jerez, just watch your distance there, please. I think when we get to Jerez, I'm going to have my own custom-made tooth-shining mask, you know.
Very funny.
Sorry, I can't breathe properly in this. It's so uncomfortable, isn't it?
It's our first time doing this. As you can see anyway, we're here at MotorLand Aragón. It's the 17th of July, Friday the 17th. A few of the 300 teams. There's Ana Carrasco behind me there.
Yeah.
And the Superbike teams, notably Honda, are here. Honda's got no new parts though, have they? They're stuck in customs, we believe.
Yeah, apparently Honda's new parts were stuck in customs. Interesting on the garage, I don't know if you can swing the camera around here, the MTM team, not the MTM team, the SK team of Nick Callanan. He's been fastest so far in the test. He was fastest yesterday. Interestingly, Tom Booth-Amos from Moto3 is in this team with Tom Bramich. They have been working together on track, and we've seen a lot of the Supersport 300 teams working together, which I think we've seen that on track normally, but they're doing it here. More than 30 new riders in the World Supersport 300 Championship, including this guy here with the mask. This is Víctor Rodríguez, and he has been riding. Just give us a wave there. We can't talk to you for social distancing reasons.
We're about to get run over by Scott Deroux.
Scott Deroux comes in behind us.
Right, stay still, that's the golden rule. Just don't move, because then there's more chance of being run over if you move.
Yeah, and that's Koen Murphel's coming in as well. So Víctor Rodríguez from the BSB Championship, he's running for the 2R Racing Kawasaki team, and it's one of the nicest looking bikes on the track. Beautiful colour scheme, and he could be one to watch this year.
Just a few shots of some of the riders in action earlier, and we'll play a few more as we're walking up and down here. Now, retirement. I think Fernando Alonso, Marco Melandri now is back as well. He's done a bit of a Mike Hailwood, but come back much sooner than Mike Hailwood did.
Yeah, Marco Melandri is going to be the third world champion to come back with an Italian manufacturer. Because Troy Bayliss retired, came back to replace Davide Giuliano. Max Biaggi came back. He didn't replace anybody. He just came out of retirement, rode an extra bike. Yeah. And now obviously Marco Melandri coming back to replace the unfortunately injured Leon Camia. So hopefully, as Ana Carrasco goes back out there, hopefully hopefully Leon Camayer can now get fully recovered, and we might see him back in the future. But Marco Melandri back with the Barney Racing team. A lot of experience, former world champion, multiple race winner. He could be a surprise package because he is as fit as a butcher's dog. If you've been looking on his social media, on his Instagram, very, very fit. Marco Melandri could be one to watch.
Now, when we last did one of these, you can see it on the GregHainesTV YouTube page. We talked about the fact the calendar is different, Michael. We never would have believed it was going to be as different as it's ended up being, as Indy Offer prepares to go back out on the Supersport 300 Kawasaki.
Yeah, and I'm going to say just on this team, the Scuderia Maranga team, they're running 3 riders. Borja Sanchez, former obviously front runner, Indy Offer, the youngest ever British rider. He's actually improved more than 5 seconds this weekend. Never been here before. Riding with an injury to his leg, he crashed the Supermoto, and if you see that, it is black and blue. So he's currently doing a time that would have put him sort of mid-pack in the last chance race. That is very, very credible for Indy Offer, to be fair. And young Jarno Javerno as well, who is also riding in that team. Jarno's had a couple of crashes. Oh, doesn't it just sound great to see? It's great to hear bikes back on the track, isn't it? It really, really is. And there's Indy's dad trying to
give
keep
us a
out
wave,
of things.
Damon. Thanks very much. We won't do any interviews, as we said, because of
He
the
loves
social
it,
distancing.
doesn't he? He loves it.
Now, Indy Offer, if you've watched British Junior Supersport, you'll remember he had a particularly good performance at Thruxton last year, and he was up there with the leading pack for the whole of that race, which we showed on Eurosport, of course, and we'll do again this year. We'll head up towards HRC Honda, Michael, because they're the only big main superbike team who are here, as I've just pulled my mask.
I don't know whether we can get the footage of this. I think this bike is going to go. This is the 2R Racing team, teammate, of course, to Victor Rodríguez. And let's see if we can get a look at the bike, because when the bike comes out, this for me is the best looking bike on the World Supersport 300 grid. That is a beautiful livery, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a commentator's dream with the orange flashes on. Right, we'll keep our distance. Let's go out this way, shall we?
Yeah, we can do.
There's a real mix of people here. This is actually a tyre test organised by the Spanish tyre organisation, essentially. Let's get right out.
Yeah, and there's been a couple of teams here also from the RFME, the Team Edge Racing here, and just look at that. He wasn't riding that on track today. He was actually on a much faster bike, but we've had a real mix of riders and teams here, and it's just been so good. And I know it wasn't an official test; it was a tyre test, as you said, but just so good. And you mentioned HRC, and we're going to have a wander up that way now. Leon Haslam just looks like he's on rails. He looks so comfortable on that bike. Alvaro finding confidence, and as you said, a lot of their spare parts never made it. They have done a lot of race runs. Given the fact that we're going to come here to Aragon, hopefully towards the end of this, is it this month or next month? I'm lost with the dates now with the new calendar.
It is the end of August, twice.
Yeah, twice at the end of August. This could be a very, very productive test for them because it is so hot now, right? It's about 37 degrees. I mean, it's so hot here.
Oh, yeah, track temperature's high 50s, early 60s now.
Yeah. And I'll tell you who has also impressed me, Christophe Ponson on the Aprilia. Yeah, the Nuova M2 Aprilia back in the paddock. Speaking to them over the weekend, they are potentially looking at doing a full season next year. Whether it will be on the RSV or whether it will be on this new 1100, if it gets homologation, who knows? But it's so good, and as you can see, a lot of teams have gone. The MS Racing team have already left.
This was full a while ago.
That's
going to be more traffic for me to be caught behind around those narrow roads on the way back from Aragon.
Yeah, and that is an impressive truck from GMT 94.
Do you think Mr. Remy Guillot's in there somewhere?
I would assume that Remy's probably in the garage, given that Jules Cluzel and Corentin Perolari will be back out on track in about half an hour.
He should be in the garage, Christophe Guillot, of course, not here after that little incident he had at Magny-Cours when he was teaching people a few weeks back. But we're just walking up towards HRC now. Michael, let's quickly do a quick sort of summary of the season so far in comparison to the predictions we made back in Jerez in January. And to be fair, I think we got it pretty much right, didn't we? Toprak was up there. Redding was the only rider to get a podium in every race. Jonathan Ray had a win, of course. But Alex Lowe's perhaps the star performer. We knew he was going to be good, but he was so strong there.
Yeah, and I said on the Paddock show, I was doing the Paddock show with Troy Bayliss, and Troy Bayliss called it. He said, Lowe's is going to win this race. And I said, really? And I didn't mean it to come out the way that it came out. And I said to Alex afterwards, given the practice and stuff. But Alex Lowe's, he's right on the money. But there's so many changes, isn't there? We've not had any races, but so many changes. There's a very happy Ron Haslam, probably on the phone to Anne back in the UK. And sad news, of course, that the Ron Haslam Honda Race School is closing, which is a big shame. They've been so instrumental in sort of helping so many people in the two-wheel world. So sorry to see that bit of news happened. But yeah, getting back to your point on the World Superbike predictions, I think we did get it on the money. But I think we are going to see some big changes when we get racing. It's a condensed season. Every single point is going to matter.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing as well. You can't afford to damage your bike on a Saturday or on a Sunday morning, because with so many points up for grabs in such a condensed schedule, you're completely right. Same with BSB as well, for that matter. Now, we'll try and cut back into the pit lane, but a lot of these garages are closed.
We've got no chance of getting into HRC, because what I can tell you, I saw Federica, the press officer, and this team's already closing up, and they actually are having all of their team members temperature controlled every 5 days, and also the COVID test, you know, like they're doing in Formula One with the old cotton bud up the nose jobby. And basically, only the official HRC team members will be allowed in the garage or in the office space.
Now, in terms of us getting into here today, just to give you a bit of an idea, and I know it was the same at the Barcelona test last week, temperature checks coming in, you have to fill a form in, you have to go through a questionnaire. Have you had COVID? Have you been in contact with anyone who's had COVID in the last 2 weeks? All sorts of things like that to keep everybody as safe as possible, obviously social distancing. And, you know, people are being advised. I spoke with Gregory Lavia recently, Michael, for MCN, and he said, you know, gone are the days where you can pop into another garage and have a coffee with your mate and, you know, don't have a beer back at the hotel. Order room service if you can. Just a bit of common sense, really. Yeah,
and on that point, for anyone that, I mean, obviously we're not going to have fans, but the team's wondering about whether or not it's going to be an easy transition, whether it's easy to get into the paddock. It's probably taken about 5 to 6 minutes to enter into the paddock. You know, obviously you can see here some people not wearing masks. Now they are. There's Christoph Ponson. We were talking about him earlier on, over there in the corner, just having a debrief. There's the GMT 94 team. Cluzel looking strong. Is this going to be the year that Cluzel gets that title? Is it going to be this year?
We say that every year, don't we? But
yeah, I was talking to Jules, funny enough, yesterday, and he actually said, in some bizarre kind of way, he preferred to be racing, but he's actually had so much time to spend with his new baby. And he said that's been so nice to actually be able to do that as one of the Czech team arrives. Probably in terms of the championship teams, there's been more Supersport 300 teams here than anybody else.
Yes.
They've actually given them their own session, which I thought was really, really cool. They've had, you know, 4 one-hour sessions every single day, plenty of track time. And it's been really, really good. It's just been, do you know what? It's just been nice to get out of the flat. It's been nice to travel. You know,
well, it's the first time I've sort of been away since I saw you in Jerez in January.
Yeah,
there's the Pirelli garage there, which is always a busy place because of all the tyres. Naturally, for all the different classes, different compounds, you'd expect some hard compound fronts to be wheeled out for the high temperatures we're going to get in Jerez and Portimao. But that's going to be a real characteristic of the season now, isn't it? Hot temperatures. There's going to be people losing the front end. There's going to be slides. Although, having said that, apparently for most of GP so far today in Jerez, there's not been too many incidents.
No.
I think my main worry is going to be I'm probably going to suffocate with this on.
It is very, very uncomfortable. It's weird getting used to it.
With the
also
heat
on
as
the
well.
plane having to travel. You know, I was frightened that I was going to. Anna's obviously back out on track. In fact,
there's Nico Sartori on the right there in chatting with Raul Guzman, who's obviously one of the KRT technicians. Remember, this is Jonathan Ray's team. This is the KRT squad, the Provex squad in Supersport 300 with Anna Carrasco. Let's see. No, Nico's busy. I was going to say, let's see if he gives us away, but he's obviously busy there. Jonathan Ray, by the way, was another person who said, you know, he's thought about retirement. He's pondered retirement a few times as Tom Booth Amos now goes back out. But yeah, I think the breaks allowed a lot of people to realise how much they love racing, how much they miss racing, and how much they want to continue racing.
Yeah, and just want to point out there, obviously, the mechanic there of Tom Booth Amos didn't have the face mask on. Now, the rule, of course, when we go World Superbike or MotoGP is you have to keep the mask on at all times.
Yes.
It's not compulsory to keep the mask on here if you are in the open, providing you can social distance or providing the person that's next to you has the screen. So obviously in that situation there, nothing wrong with that. Because
so is this social bubbles and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. So they're keeping in the social bubbles. Tom Booth Amos obviously had the crash helmet on with the visor down, and obviously there's physically no way that anything could be transferred there. So just want to point that out for anyone that says, oh, he's not social distancing, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, obviously when we do go to racing, different story. Every single team will have to wear masks at all time, including riders. So when you come off the bike, you will see riders with masks, like we've seen in Moto 2, the Junior World Championships in Moto 3, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, you may see on some of this footage that you're doing, not everyone's got a mask. That is, they're not breaking the rules. There's nothing wrong with that. That was made very, very clear. As long as you're in a social bubble and as long as you can social distance, you're okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's changing all the time, isn't it? You know, I mean, we're wearing them just to be on the safe side. We don't want to get in any trouble. But that is the reason why. And clearly, there, Tom Booth Amos with the helmet on and the visor, and that's clearly protecting everything on his face and everything like that. So that would be the reason.
It's worth explaining though, because I'm sure people would have been wondering that. If we just step onto the pit wall, let's find a gap in the pit wall.
Do you reckon we can actually try and get an interview? Victor Rodríguez, former rider in the British Championship. In fact, he was the winner, of course, of the standard class in the BSB. He's making his debut in the World Supersport 300. Now, I don't have very long arms, so I'll try and make this work. Victor, how are you finding the championship so far? I know it's only a test, but are you enjoying Supersport 300?
Yeah, it's completely different about what we were before, but I saw little things that I like it, and we will try to be there to the top.
Now, obviously, this is the last session on track at the moment for the Supersport 300s. You're not in your leathers. No problem. Just decided to stop.
Today we didn't do anything. So my bike is this.
Okay, so the other guys.
Yeah, it's like mostly a wheel car trying to stay in track, and let's see how it goes.
And a final question, where do I get the Victor Rodríguez mask? Because this is very boring, and this looks like a full factory face mask, so where do I get that from?
I have two for you if you want it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Perfect, thank you, I see you in Jerez.
See you, bye.
Gracias. Oh well, you can always trust Michael Hill to get something free, can't
I am
you?
king of the freeloaders,
But of course,
absolutely.
You noticed there, king of the freeloaders. Yeah, number 19, he's good mates, of course, with Alvaro Bautista, isn't he? Which
Yes.
explains why he's wearing a Bautista face mask.
And
How are we doing for battery? We're all right.
I was going to say, I know that you know Victor quite well from BSB. I don't know him so well, but I had a chat to him yesterday. What a really nice kid. Really nice kid. Now just obviously he's probably putting another order in for face masks. He's ordering another 50 face masks.
That's a guy. That's a guy. You can see the smile through the eyes. That's a guy who never gives up. Some nasty incidents actually Moto Star last year.
I know I keep going on about this colour scheme, the 2R racing team. This colour scheme, as you said, is a commentator's dream. One of the former Red Bull rookie riders testing this bike. How nice does that look now, with the sun glistening on it, a little bit in the shade there, but that is beautiful, isn't it?
I can imagine you racing with a bit of a sort of colour scheme like that, with lots and lots of colours, lots of attention.
I can imagine you racing from here to the first corner, then sitting and making sandcastles with a bucket and spade at turn 1.
Probably. You'd probably join me doing it. Thanks for that.
That's all right.
Love you too. Let's go to the pit wall. And quick, Michael, because we're connected with the cable.
Geez, I'm going to get run over.
Get run over. Just watch some of the bikes on track. Obviously, Michael, as we've been talking, we've been playing in footage of the Superbikes from earlier on today as well.
Yeah.
Let's just quickly, before we sign off, talk about some of the other gossip in the Superbike class.
Yeah.
BMW's lineup. Now, I mean, we all saw that coming, didn't we? Michael van der Mark to BMW. That was a bit of a shock.
No, I didn't see that happening at all. You know what? Michael's going to have his reasons for going. He's got a few wins on the board with Yamaha. He's won Suzuka with them. Yeah. Sometimes in your career, it's time to move on. You know, he's going to move on to a new challenge. BMW are working hard. The problem for BMW now is potentially which rider do they replace. You know, who's going to be shown the door, because ultimately that's what it's going to be. Yeah. And you can see arguments to keep both of them, right? You know, we're not saying that. You know, let's say if Tom is asked to leave, or if as Indy offer comes back in, or if.
I think the thing with BMW is they've obviously decided, for whatever reason, van der Mark. We know it's a big money deal. I think that's quite common knowledge now, just talking to some of our colleagues in the journalistic world. But at the same time, you know, that is a bit of a dilemma. Do you go for Lavity, who's quite a renowned development rider, but then again, so is Tom Sykes. Tom Sykes is obviously a world champion. He's the king of Superpole.
But let's not underestimate also, I mean, Eugene's been injured for the last couple of years, not fully fit. Yeah. Let's not underestimate that Eugene Lavity is a former winner. He's won on Suzuki, he's won on Aprilia. Eugene can pedal a bike around a track, right?
He's podiumed on every bike he's ever ridden, hasn't he, I think?
I believe so.
Much, anyway.
Yeah, obviously with Yamaha as well. So, I mean, you know, Eugene, he may not have won a world championship, but he's come damn close multiple times. Yeah. So it's a difficult decision, and I'll be interested in what criteria they're going to base this on. Is this going to be based on results? Because if it is, then we've got a shootout for a factory team, basically.
In Eugene's own words, an X Factor style shootout. And look at this.
Oh wow, what a guy!
Still here.
What a guy!
Yes.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
What a legend.
Gracias,
what a legend, eh?
Oh, Victor Rodríguez there. What a lovely thing. He's just become my new favourite rider.
Absolutely.
I really don't have any hands free. So what we got in here? We've got Rodríguez, Bautista's 19, The Rodríguez 19 as well, obviously.
With his name on it as well,
With his name on
personalised.
it.
That's superb, isn't it? Isn't that superb?
Thank
That
you very
really
much
is
again,
good.
Victor.
That
Very
really is
nice
good. Thanks,
indeed.
Victor. Yeah, really
yeah,
cool.
that's sort of a fair trade there, because I was helping him get some copies of the Motorstar races last year. Oh, I hear the exhaust note. Michael's actually going to put his on right now.
I don't know how I'm going to do this, but...
Put it over the top. Over the top of the other one, maybe. Might be the safe,
I don't want to get into
safest thing to do.
Which way round does it go?
That way, with all the numbers on the outside, obviously.
Oh, that's
you
upside
lunatic.
down. Sorry, I thought I was in Australia.
We'll get there in the end. It's going to be this side of Christmas if you can. Are you going to swap it? Yeah, over the top. That's the best thing to do. There we are. Beautiful. I'm not going to take mine off because I haven't got enough free hands. I've only got two.
Yeah, I think that's what we do, eh?
Nice
I
stuff.
feel like I want a selfie with Victor Rodríguez.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do it
I feel like
in a
I need to
minute.
go and get a selfie with him.
Sorry about this camera work. It's pretty terrible. I'll try and cover most of these with shots from the track action earlier
What's your excuse for the other episodes that you normally do? It's terrible always, isn't it?
on. Yeah, very funny. What else are we missing? Obviously, Leon Camia. Best wishes to Leon. That's
Yeah,
a shame.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
not good, is it?
He's had such a run of bad luck, hasn't he, since he came into World Superbike. He's had some good results with Aprilia, and then unfortunately those injuries. But you know what? Now we can actually maybe focus on being recovered without any stress. And sorry, I'm not being rude to Victor, but I can't breathe. Hang on, I've got to.
So he tries to look all cool.
No,
and
two
suffocates
of them
himself
doesn't
in the
work.
process.
That's quite bad. But no, I mean,
Great idea.
hopefully now he can just spend the year recovering and come
Yeah.
back stronger. And we wish him all the best for sure.
So, just a quick recap then. The calendar, here is the calendar. So, obviously we've had Australia, then it's Jerez, which is coming after the two MotoGP races. Quickly followed by Portimao a week later. 2 rounds here. Now, if you're Chas Davies, you'd be pleased about that, wouldn't you? An Aragon round and a Telwell
Do you know what?
round.
I'd never thought of that. I know, actually, until you've just mentioned it, yeah, I'd actually thinking more about the riders that were here maximising the track conditions. But yes, Mr. Aragon, Chas Davies.
Absolutely. I mean, he's won here. Well, he's number 7. Has he won here 7 times? I think he may have
He
done.
may have done.
I think he has.
And even last year he came very close, didn't he? He
Yes,
was on the
yeah.
podium. That was his turnaround weekend,
And
wasn't
Laverty had a good weekend
Yeah,
on one of those Ducatis
yeah.
here last year as well, didn't he? So, yeah, we've got that. Scott Redding, that win's coming. I mean, he was the only rider, as I said before, to finish on the podium in all of the races back in Australia. That sound, by the way, if you're wondering, is when somebody comes into the pits, there's a sensor at the top end of the pit lane, and it just warns people like us here that there is somebody coming in. You can tell it's a Kawasaki for the green backing on the number at the front of it.
Yeah, that's actually one of Jakob Schmertz's riders. I can't pronounce the name. Czech is not one of the languages. You don't actually pronounce it anything like it's written.
Right, okay.
So that's going to be something we're going to have to try and work on before the resumption of racing. If we're commentating on that, it's going to be difficult to commentate on the names.
Actually, thank you for reminding me, because that's another thing we should talk about. We've doubled up on the Supersport races, haven't we? As a lot of people actually have been wanting for a long time anyway. A race, sorry about the masks, a race on the Saturday and on the Sunday. I think a lot of people are hoping that's going to continue, actually, even post-COVID times. That's going to be some great drama. And ironically, the Supersport 300 guys and girls are going to get more races now than they would have had in the original season.
Yeah, the Supersport 300's 12 races now to determine the world champion, which is more than any. It's also a chance to make more mistakes, but it's also a chance to make amends, right? If you get it wrong on the first race, where you think 6 races, now you've got 12, And we've seen how important it is to score points as Ana Carrasco comes out for her final run.
With a question mark on the front there. 2 last-minute stretches.
Yeah, I spoke to her yesterday, and I said, I've not had a chance to speak to her since Jerez when we were there about riding the Superbike. And I said, a lot of rumours saying you'd love to be in Superbike. And she said, yes. Whether she moves up to 600 or not, but she said, no, you know what? Yes, I was 9 or 10 seconds off, but in damp conditions, she said, I was told, absolutely, don't push, do not crash Jonathan's bike. So she was riding it very tentatively, and she was joking, but you know what? How good would it be to see a woman, a female racer in Superbike, right? I mean, it would be great.
A lot of rumours about Anna possibly returning to Moto3 as well, and I think even as early as next year, but I would imagine now with this COVID situation, that's probably been put on the back burner. But yeah, I mean, she's generated so many headlines all around the world, hasn't she? When she won that first race in Portugal a few years ago, it was even in the New York Times. I mean, she's been a great ambassador for WorldSBK.
No, absolutely. And I said from the beginning, I know the first year of World Supersport 300, the bikes were not as fast as they are now. But like with any new championship, right? The same when as Borja Sanchez goes by. I think that's Tom Booth Amos about to go by. Yes, it is Tom Booth Amos. But it's like when Moto3 first came in. Remember that first year? It took them a little while to get up to speed. And you can see now as we're into the last 10 or 15 minutes of this session for the 300s, they're making a lot of changes. Yeah. This is their last time on track before they actually go to Jerez. So this is important, these last few minutes.
You can hear like the engines cut as they come in. They just coast their way down the pit lane. This is where people like us need to be very careful, because it's very easy to be in the pit lane and someone's coming towards you at 30 k's or 60 k's or whatever.
And has Jarno gone down again? Has he gone down again? That body language, that's Jarno Werner. He crashed twice. He crashed once yesterday, once this morning. And the body language there, the side of that bike was clean when it went out. It's not clean now. I wonder if he's gone down again. Is that the third crash? Poor guy if it is. He's a nice guy as well, nice kid.
The thing is though, I think we're going to see a lot of this, aren't we? With the temperatures as they are, you know, in Jerez, it's going to be such a shiny track surface. It's going to be boiling, as we already know it is for MotoGP at the moment. There's going to be incidents. And, you know, guys like Indy Off are there. There's no expectation. He's new in the championship, and it might just be the sort of scenario he needs to pick up a few points. I mean, you know, we're not expecting him to come out and win races, but keep it on the island.
Sorry there's someone gone straight on at turn 1. I don't know whether we kept it up right. No, we
have. Yes, just
I heard the lock up on the downshift there.
Well
I was like, you could just hear it in the background.
And that's Carrasco who's just peeled into turn 1. In fact, Nick Kalinin was the fastest when we last looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've pretty... Oh, I tell you what, there's one thing we definitely have forgotten in the Supersport ranks. Randy Krummenacher and MV. I don't know what's gone on there apart from a big fallout.
Yeah, I don't know the full story. The first I saw was in the press release. Obviously, some feelings coming out from Randy. Obviously, MV have responded. The team has responded, and I guess that's going to be sorted out in a court of law. So let's see what happens. A lot of people saying, you know, Randy wanted to go to the Barney team. Well, they've obviously now signed Melandri. So how, again, you don't know what to believe in the press, right? So I mean, I don't want to speculate. I know you won't want to speculate.
Depends who's written it, really, doesn't it?
Well, that's right. You know, but. Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but it's interesting that the reigning world champion, 0 points on the board in Australia, and potentially not racing this year.
Michael, thanks ever so much for everything again. It is very hot here, but it's going to be a hot season in more ways than one, and let's just hope it all goes smoothly. Look after yourself, stay safe. Michael, I'll see you soon, and we will see you live on Eurosport as we get going in Jerez on the first weekend of August.